Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've never talked about Judge Judy on my channel, but growing up I watched Judge Judy all the time. I remember like being unsure of how I felt about her because there were times where she would, have a case and the guy was like, or the girl was completely trying to like mess someone else over, and she would call them out on it. She would like stick it to them and justice, you know what I'm saying? And I would be like, oh, that's great, that's so awesome that she did that. But there were times where I felt like she was like completely unfair with someone, and then I was like, she's such a turd, she's literally so mean, so I had this, I don't know, like I knew she was like bad to the bone. She didn't care about ticking people off, and she was going to say what she wanted to say, despite anything. She was going to say what she wanted to say. She was going to call you out. If she felt like you were in the wrong, you were going to know about it. So growing up, I watched Judge Judy a lot. Bailiff Byrd, obviously, if you watch Judge Judy, you know who Bailiff Byrd is, right? We know that Judge Judy, it wrapped 25 years on air. It's been on air since 1996, and it has literally become a staple of daytime television. Judge Judy, she's quick-witted. She doesn't have a filter, so her series was just so successful. It was so entertaining. It was so successful. Most people know Judge Judy, right? So the show wrapped, and Judge Judy announced that she was coming out with a new show called Judy Justice, and it would have the same concept pretty much. She's the judge, she's going to be trying these cases, but she brought in two ladies. One was going to sit on the right of her, one was going to sit on the left of her. One is actually her granddaughter. I don't remember their specific role, but she brought them on. They're, cast members. When I watched the trailer where she talks about them, she says, we got a new cast. One of the girls is my granddaughters. And she says that her granddaughter is a lot like her, smart mouth, quick-witted, and lacks a filter, basically. So she said, and she loves that about her. Something else that was discussed in this trailer was a new bailiff. They actually got a new bailiff. Bailiff Byrd was not offered to join this new project, Judy Justice, and he actually spoke out about it recently and revealed his feelings. Not only was he not invited to be a part of this project, but he wasn't even told about it. From my understanding, Bailiff Byrd found out about this project when everybody else did, when it was released, like when it was announced. Judge Judy and Bailiff Byrd, they go way back. So they actually knew each other before the show. Judge Judy actually got him the job as her bailiff because he was her bailiff before that. So she was, an actual judge that tried normal cases outside of television, and he was a bailiff, and he said, back then, the bailiffs, they swapped around. You may be a bailiff for Judge Judy one day, and you may be a bailiff for Judge Marco the next day. That, they swapped around, and I don't know, maybe that's how they still do it. I'm not sure. But either way, they swapped around. He said he actually moved to California because where they were before was not California. He said he moved to California. He was working as a child counselor or a counselor. And he said one morning he was reading the newspaper, and he saw this article about Judge Judy Sheindlin, or Judge Judith Sheindlin, writing a book. And I think he said the title of the book is You Can't Pee on My Leg and Tell Me It's Raining. And he knew automatically, he's like, yes, that's Judge Judy. So the paper that he would read was the paper from where he used to live, where Judge Judy still lived. He said that was his way of like kind of keeping up with what was going on in his hometown, was to read the paper. So he reads this and he knows that's Judge Judy. So he said back then they didn't really have social media. He said the only way you could send someone a message was through mail or fax. So he said he wrote out a really quick congratulations on the fax. Congratulations, I saw your book. And if you ever need a bailiff, I still look good in my uniform. So he sends this fax to Judge Judy, and she actually faxes him back saying, thank you, and yes, I actually need a bailiff, and because you're already in California, that's what we're going to be shooting at. Are you interested? And he was like, yeah, sure. So she got him this job. So they've been friends, associates for sure, since before Judge Judy. While on Judge Judy, they became super close. I mean, you could see by the pictures, they had a very close friendship. So for Judge Judy not to even reach out to Bailiff Byrd and tell him, hey, we're working on a project and I'm sorry you're not going to be a part of it. I don't know, you guys, it rubs me the wrong way. I can't see it. 25-year friendship and she don't even have the decency. That's kind of scary, you know, to say Judge Judy don't have decency. But really, she didn't even have the decency to pick up the phone and call her friend and say, listen, you're not going to be involved in this and I'm sorry. Now, like I said, he served by her side for the entirety of her 25-season run. Bailiff Byrd says he was more than blindsided. He actually spoke to people and he admitted that he was confused and he felt left out. He said, my assumptions is if you're going to do something else, that you were at least going to ask me if I wanted to have the opportunity to audition for the role. Now, since Judge Judy wrapped, he has been pretty busy with his wife. Bailiff Byrd met his wife. She was a producer on Judge Judy. They got married. Her name is Makita. And after Judge Judy wrapped, Makita was preparing for brain surgery. And since then, she's gone through 3 rounds of chemotherapy with 95% of the tumor being removed successfully. So, you know, Bailiff Byrd had a lot going on. He was busy. And he did say that during all this, he didn't have time to think about or even ask about Judy Justice. He says it wasn't until months later in July that he called the judge and he asked her, he's like, hey, should I look for something else? Or am I going to be included in this Judy Justice project? And he said that it wasn't a conversation, that it was easy, nor one that he even wanted to have. He told people, he said, I don't think she understood how confused and dismayed I was after being there for 25 years from the beginning of her career and not being at least given the opportunity to say whether or not I wanted to continue that relationship. Now, on Judge Judy's side of things, it's money. Like, the problem is money. There's no bad blood. There wasn't anything that happened. She told Bailiff Byrd that it was because he was too expensive. He said, she informed me that I was not being asked to come on the project. He said, I didn't inquire as to why. That's her choice. But she did inform me that fundamentally, I was priced out as the new bailiff on her new show. My salary would have been too much. And he said, I was curious. How would she know? She didn't ask. She didn't give me the opportunity to have accepted a lower salary. So I'm sure Judge Judy knew what they was paying the bailiff on Judge Judy. But his problem is like, maybe I would have accepted a lower salary just so I could be a part of this project. And she didn't give him the opportunity for that. So he's like, how do you know that my salary was too much? Because you didn't even offer anything to me. Now, ironically, his wife was asked to be a part of this project. His wife was a producer on Judge Judy, and she was asked to come back to be a producer on Judy Justice. And she actually had to decline because of her health issues. Now, Bailiff Byrd, he says there was no extenuating circumstances. The only excuse he's been given is he was too expensive. But to him, he's like, no, I wasn't, because they didn't ask. They didn't offer anything lower. And they didn't know if he would be willing to accept anything lower. He just says simply, other than that, he was not asked back or offered the role. He went on to tell EW, he said, I'm like, if I did something wrong or offended you or brought shame to the show, or if I was involved in numerous scandals in the 25 years we were together, I might would understand why you didn't bother in the end. He says, that's just the way it went. I just know God has something else out there for me. Now, Judge Judy did release a statement about her bailiff not being in this new series, or, well, Bailiff Byrd not being in the new series, because she does have a new bailiff. So when the trailer was released and everyone saw that she had a new bailiff, people were asking questions. People were disappointed. People were saying they're not going to watch it. So she put out a statement. She said, Byrd is terrific and we had a great 25-year run. This is a whole new program with a whole new cast and an exciting energy. Now, yes, there is a new cast. The only person that appears to be the same person is Judge Judy. She brought in, 2 women, her granddaughter and this other lady. They're going to sit on the right-hand side of her and the left-hand side of her. And then she has her new bailiff. His name is Kevin Rasco. He actually provided personal security to her during her Judge Judy days. So he isn't someone new to the family. He just got a new position because he worked as her security. I'm sure he knew Bailiff Byrd. So Bailiff Byrd kind of got the boot. Security guard, he gets moved up to bailiff on this new show. Now, the judge referred to Kevin, her new bailiff, as one of the warmest people. He was revealed as the new bailiff in the first trailer for Judy Justice, which was released by IMDb, because I think it streams on IMBD TV. And it should be noted that the majority of the comments were about the bailiff and their disappointment in the fact that Bailiff Byrd was not brought back. He appears to be a fan favorite, and people were surprised over him not continuing on with the judge. People were upset about it. People were stating that they were not going to watch. There were comments saying she could have at least given him a phone call, and the fact that she didn't, not going to watch. There were some comments saying, well, we understand why. It's a new show, and if Judge Judy was on the show and the same bailiff was on the show, it would appear like the same show. So they had to do something to mix it up. So bringing in a new bailiff and these two other women, it makes sense. It gives it a little bit of a different feel to separate it from Judge Judy and what she did, you know, those 25 years on that show. It's got to be something different. So I get both aspects of it. Something had to be different. I personally think she could have brought Bailiff Byrd in, added these two new women, and it would have been a different show. I think it would have been, would have been a different show. But I guess for her, that was not the case. Now, as far as Bailiff Byrd, he is moving on in his acting career, and he's got a number of voiceover roles as well as a guest spot on The Bold and the Beautiful. And I think he actually has like a YouTube channel or something to that effect, because I watched several clips of him and his wife doing certain things together, and I was like, oh, they must have a YouTube channel. I'm going to look for that, and if they do, I'll link it in the description box below. But they have something where they film together and they post it. And let me tell you guys, I've been watching interviews with him, you know, on, I think it was like E! News. I watched like 4 interviews of him before I recorded this video. He is funny. He's a very funny guy. He's very charming, charismatic. And every once in a while on Judge Judy, like that would kind of peep out. But his job was to be serious, was to stand there, keep order in the court. It wasn't to be, you know, loud and funny or anything. So he did his job and he did it well. But if you watch him in interviews, he has a really good personality. Seems like a really good guy. Judy Justice premieres November 1st on IMBD TV with a new episode every weekday. I'm going to post the trailer to it in the description box below. You guys check it out. Let me know your thoughts. Like I said, I've never covered Judge Judy on my channel. But when I read this, I thought, that's pretty interesting. Because I grew up watching Judge Judy, and I knew exactly who the bailiff was, you know. So I thought, wow, it's really interesting that they did not bring him on for this new project. And not only that, he didn't even get a courtesy call to say this is what we're doing. And, you know, don't be surprised when it comes out, but we're doing this and you're not invited. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. A new Judge Judy show, Judy Justice, is coming out November 1st. Are you guys going to watch it? She has a whole new bailiff, younger guy. He was her personal security before. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you guys going to watch it? Are you guys not going to watch it? Also, make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.